if you listen to the Healing Process and Ills a Modern Man in particular, there's that very dissonant hardcore metalcore element to those.
And
yes, the panic chords. And I mean, we were discussing this earlier privately, Dom, but you've heard the record, you've heard the sounds on this record, and this is us reconnecting with that era of the band, you know. But also just in an attempt to make this new record, Shadowwork, as diverse as possible, without necessarily being too different from what we've done in the past. You know, I'd say it's 80% or 85% Despised Icon, 15% experimentation. But as far as like the 85% is concerned, it's us really acknowledging every era of the band, whether it's the later records like Day of Mourning or Beast that are more leaning on the death metal side of things than the earlier material that are a bit more hardcore influenced. I'd say Shadowwork is a melting pot of that. I'm talking on and on. Like I should shut up and let you guys speak.
No.
I literally go on this rant, and then I'm like, oh, holy shit! What was the question again?
Dude, no.
if we talk more, people yell at us for talking too much. Oh, so you're all good. People are going to hear you talk.
It's perfect. The only thing I see is that every single thing, because you go on all these topics, it's all interesting. I have 50 billion questions, but then I'm like, oh, but this is interesting too. So we just let you go, and it's just it's honestly it's awesome. But while we're talking about the last album,
yes,
it really felt like that to me. First of all, the freaking artwork is one of the best I've seen in my entire life. I'll be honest, like
Merci,
shockingly good. Like I think our first comment, we didn't even hear it yet, right? We just saw like the artwork. We're like, okay, this is my first instinct was like it's gonna be.
We saw the leak of the artwork, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, originally we wanted normally I like for the music to speak for itself and not so much being like buy merch and then look at this. I just like. I like to give it a go, and like the icebreaker for me has always been music first and foremost. Less marketing, just like de la musique. That's what matters the most. But with the leak of the album cover, we were like, I've worked my ass off. We've worked our asses off on this record. There's no way that people are going to learn about it through this random third party. You know, if people are going to know about it, it's going to be through us. And right now, the only thing that we can do, because the way that these DSPs are scheduled, the Spotify's and all that, it's complicated. So we're like, all right, fuck it. We're just gonna unleash the album artwork onto this world and see where it takes us. And merci, and I'm glad you dig the artwork. And what makes this portion or the music videos or the pictures or the graphic design, the merch designs or the music production, I almost exclusively deal with friends. People that I've known for a while, people that I know I can trust them with my baby that is this band, and people that will do justice to the music and what we're trying to achieve with this vision. And Erian Cantor, who did the illustration to this record, he was spot on. This was our second time working with them. The first time I hit him up because he did these badass covers for Hatebreed and Testament and Thy Art Is Murder and so on and so forth. And I was like, wow, man, this, I wanted something a little less Photoshoppy and something a bit more, like an actual drawing,
Yeah.
I love the Photoshop thing, our merch design, first and foremost, that's what it is. But for the visual, to the music, I wanted an illustration. And so originally I hit up Erian for Purgatory because I just couldn't figure out the album cover. And then he was like, dude, you're way too late for this. I can't do it. And I was like, what if we just went through your old sketches and see if anything would, could be relatable to Purgatory, the previous record. And so he sends me his sketches and I was like, yeah, no, this is good, but it doesn't. Ça n'a pas rapport. It doesn't work with the music and this record. But I pushed my luck and I was like, all right, man, listen up. I got this vision. And then I tell him about the angel, and then he's like, oh, but what if instead we replace the wings with gold wings and they rip, and that represents the weight of, the pressure of your goals and the weight that's on your shoulders. And then I was like, all right, I guess we just sealed the deal and got Erian.
He gave him the bug, yeah.
Even if we didn't want to do it. So I guess he and I hit it off just because we have this artistic or creative connection, and that's what matters most to me. And that's why I asked him the second time around for Shadow Work, our new record, to do the illustration. And every time we're in Berlin, in Germany, he just hits me up and he comes to hang out, and we just, most of the time we don't even talk about music or whatever. We just talk about whatever just because we have that connection. And so last time we played Berlin, I was like, yo, we're working on this record. We should work together again. And this time around, it's not going to be last minute. So I have this idea, and then I tell him I have these two ideas, and then I tell him both. The first idea was just a tortured individual, but with a crown of thorns. And then he was like, yeah, Jesus already beat you to it. And then my second idea was, this is a very introspective record. So I sort of wanted for the inside to sort of like pour out, have somehow the guts or the rib cage or something visceral, exposed, so that you can sort of have this visual analogy of introspection and digging deep. And then he sort of like merged two ideas together. He was like, the ribcage thing, cool, but yeah, what do you think if the person ripped off his jaw and then coronated himself with it? And I was like, yo, that's genius. All right, that's it. And I was like, oh, by the way, we always have this color palette per record. So Healing Process was, orange, and Purgatory was black, and Day of Mourning was white, and Beast was green. What do you think? Burgundy, and then like these skin tones like beige and bone and all that. He was like, yeah, that's fine. And then it was literally like a 5-minute conversation. It was like, all right, cool. So yeah, what'd you do last week? And it was that easy. So sometimes it's super complicated. It takes weeks, months, and sometimes it's just you just hit it off and something magical happens.
Yeah, but
shout out Erian.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I'm speaking for myself, but like I don't remember the last time that I saw an artwork that I was like, okay, that's like
the concept the concept is so good. I'm surprised nobody's done it before.
Yeah, that
so
was my
sick,
reaction
dude.
too.
Well, now it's ours. Just too bad.
That's yours.
It really is. And the albums overall too. I mean, like you were, talking about the music as well. I'm glad you said that, because that's how I felt when I heard it. It really felt like all the best parts of the band and the years and everything. But to me, even I would say it's like a notch more like balls to the walls, like crazy, as if it would be possible. But clearly, it was. And I gotta say, you were talking about Steve earlier's vocals. To me, on this one, it feels like he went even crazy. I don't know what it is, but it felt like a step, just like even better than it was. I don't know if something changed or if he.
Well, thank you for the compliment on behalf of Steve. I fully agree with you. We for the vocal production, we spent a lot more time on it. These previous records, especially Purgatory, I remember I was touring full time with Obey the Brave at the time and just alternating between OTB and Despised. And then I remember Eric, I would just go to Eric's place, and then we weren't very, very purposeful in our writing. We would write riffs or sections of songs, and we had these deadlines, and I was a full-time career musician back then. And I remember just, we had all these segments of songs, and then I remember going on this like 2-month segment, back-to-back tours with OTB, and coming back and being like, Eric had like pieced together a whole bunch of riffs and sections into songs, like, meticulously. I would like to think that it wasn't forced, but it was very fast. And I wrote maybe half of the lyrics in the studio. And I'd say we'd probably, on average, it would take us a day to record a song. So 10 songs, 10 sessions, something along those lines. But for Shadow Work, it was the full on opposite with writing this record, the lyrics, the music. I drove myself crazy thinking, rethinking, rethinking, rethinking every single part, every single word, optimizing everything. And there is magic into that raw energy of just like, let's fucking do this record right, and then on to the next song. But this time around, I wanted to switch it up and be as purposeful as possible. So that reflects on the writing, but also on the recording. And so for the vocal production, I took all of last 2 winters ago. That was my time to record the vocals, and it was my first time recording myself, building a home studio. Eric coming here, he's the tech head in our band, wired all these rigs, and that's why Dom and I couldn't figure shit out earlier, because Eric did this whole setup for me. So recorded everything, all the vocals myself, my vocals, 2 winters ago. And then last winter, I wanted to be fully focused to produce and steer Steve into the right direction with this record. So we hired a sound engineer who was actually in the hip hop scene here in Quebec. This was his first metal production, and he was just doing the play record and helping with the edits. And I was just there judging every take. And instead of just doing little word or part by part, we were just recording sections and then recording them 10, sometimes 20 times, and then revisiting that after the session or a day later, and just picking out the best sections instead of just, how about we replace this word, or how about we replace just this one syllable. That's why I'm proud of this more organic method of piecing things together. And to answer your question, Yan, Steve, I needed to push him, man. I wanted him to tap into that energy. I believe in Steve more than Steve believes in himself. And certain times, let's take, for instance, the first single on this record, Over My Dead Body. It ends with Steve just losing his shit, And I was like, okay, Steve, you just nailed the song. For this last part, I want you to do the full on opposite. No technique, just scream as loud as you can. It doesn't matter if you're in front of the mic or on the other side of the room. Just, you've had a rough week, you've had a rough month. Tap into that mindset, that energy, let it all out. I want to hear that sincerity. And he just did it time and time again. And to me, Steve's vocal performance on this record is the best that he's ever done. And I don't know if he even realizes that himself, but I am 110% confident that, he fucking just killed it. It's the best he's ever done. And then the thing is, with being this band, starting out so long ago, and this is record number 7, and this is our first record in 6 years, people have expectations. But first and foremost, I have expectations.
Yeah.
We have expectations. We want to better ourselves. We don't want to just put out music for the sake of putting music. We actually, as I said, we're very focused on the now. It's cool that you guys like A Fractured Hand, and it's cool that you guys want to hear Furtive Monologue and MVP and all that. But my mindset is fuck MVP. I want to write better songs. And that's been my headspace. That's been our headspace. And so, and also it's all these fucking dadcore comments. It's death metal dads. It's like all these, everything in regards to our age. You know what? We are in our mid 40s, and I promise you that a lot of these people online, I know it's all fun and games and people are well intentioned, but a lot of people in your 40s or even your 30s, this music thing is a phase, and you'll have that white picket fence and you won't be into the scene. And we are still into this scene, and we're still fucking killing it, writing the fastest songs ever. And we want to show people that we still have that raw energy and willingness to kick ass inside of us. I know it might sound a bit arrogant, but I just want us to not soften up. Often when you're, 20 years or more into the game, people expect you to soften up or write okay songs and, write load and reload or whatever. And that's not us,
Yeah.
with this record. For me, I wanted to put out the Black Album, and in my book it is. And but at the end of the day, all that's just words, and it's for you to listen and decide. And if it's not the Black Album to you, that's okay as well. Whichever part of the band resonates with you most, that's cool as well. But I don't want to live in the past. I want to live in the now and in the future. And that's been my outlook throughout this entire recording process.